Did you guys farm enough 25% Terminator Lightside level 3s? Did you guys get enough Smuggler level 6 evasions? I hope you did. What's up, Knights of X, and welcome back to the channel where today we're going to talk about the best 3v3 teams for this upcoming GAC season for the month of February/March. And guys, this is going to be a very challenging season because this new Datacron set, in my opinion, is more catered for 5v5 than it is 3v3, especially for the level 9s, specifically the level 9s. I think the absolute MVP for this season is going to be the level 3s and the level 6s. So I hope you guys farmed enough 25% Terminator Lightside Crons and the Smuggler Evasion level 6 because it will be game-changing in most matchups. Not being able to hit your opponent is insanity. And if you don't have a team that applies debuffs, you're going to have a really hard time. So that's what we're going to get into this video, guys, with this list. If you guys haven't seen this type of video before, I break it into 3 different categories. I have the best defensive teams, offensive teams, and then I have a flex category where we talk about teams that can go both on offense and defense, kind of dependent on your strategy. Later on in the season, if you see your opponent sets a certain team, you want to bring another team on offense. So these teams in the flex category can go on either offense or defense, so keep a note of that. But guys, there's a lot of teams that you don't realize have certain tags like Smuggler and Mercenary, and those crons are going to be absolutely insane this season, so keep an eye on teams like that. If you don't have those crons farmed up yet, get ready for week 2 because you want to get a lot of level 3s with the Terminator and a lot of level 6s for the Smuggler and even the Mercenary one. So guys, let's get into the list. We're going to start with the offensive teams, but before we do, always reminding you guys, if you enjoy this content, you do want to support this channel, smash the like button and subscribe. Really helps me out, guys. I appreciate all the support, and it really helps me out in the end. It really makes me grow, so do appreciate all the support, guys. But like I said, let's get into the offensive teams first and see what I come up with. Okay, guys, to start out the defensive list, I meant to say defense before. We're starting with defense. We're starting with the brand new Galactic Legend, Ahsoka Tano, guys. And in my opinion, if you have her up and running, this is going to be the team you want to go for, and I'll explain why later on. I recently had a match where I put my Ahsoka Tano on defense without Ezra, and it was taken out by Bo-Katan Mandalore, guys. So I don't want that to happen again. I am definitely going to keep my Ahsoka Tano with Ezra, making it a way more difficult counter. So I do think the optimal lineup will be Ahsoka Tano, Ezra, and Sabine as your damage dealer. I even lost this with Leia once. It's kind of hit or miss depending if they go all in on Leia. Sabine can absolutely nuke her. Very tough team to get through. Sith Eternal Bane should be able to get through it. But I do think if you have Ahsoka and Ezra up and running, you're going to want to combine them to make a very strong Ahsoka Tano team. Because I think Rey's going to be absolutely fine with this next character that I'm going to show you. Guys, yeah. I have plans for Hoi Yang on another team because he has a droid tag, and there's a droid Datacron, which is going to be very strong. So I'm trying to maximize all the different teams as much as I can. So the first team I'm recommending is Ahsoka with Ezra and Sabine, which leads to number 2 and 3, guys. And this one I'm going to show both. And what I'm personally going to be doing is I'm going to be putting Rey, Ben Solo, and Enfys Nest as the Rey squad for this season. We've seen this in the past with Enfys Nest, and I've had it where I've lost the Seer Malicos Starkiller lineup against this team because Nest can absolutely go through the damage immunity and hit through your Malicos, and he's dead before you even go. And there's an even more broken level 6 this time with the evasion. Now, keep in mind that Malicos' attacks cannot be evaded, and he does apply debuffs on his second special, sorry, but it will still cause issues. It will not be a guaranteed win. If your Malicos goes down, your Starkiller is going to have an extremely difficult time getting through Nest if you can't hit her. The only time you're going to be able to get through her at that point is if your Seer second special can somehow one-shot the Nest. So guys, long story short, I'm planning on putting Rey with Nest with the level 9 and the Smuggler level 6. Not being able to hit her is very strong. Your Malicos counter will not be a guarantee this season. They don't even have the unaligned Force user for Dark Side. It's only Light Side. So keep this in mind, guys. It's going to be a very tough team. If you guys don't have Ahsoka Tano or the Nest level 9, I'll be recommending Rey, Ben, and Ezra. We all know this team is an absolute insanity. He gets evasion through his relic levels, so not being able to hit him is already annoying. He can hit very hard. He applies heal immunity. He's just a very annoying character, and with Rey and Ben, it makes a super team. I'm convinced that Ezra was a lifter unit for both Ahsoka and Rey, personally. They work really well with both teams, but I really think that you're going to want to put Ezra with your Ahsoka if you have her. But if you don't, guys, You don't have Nest leveled up or geared up. Stick Ezra with Ray. You're never going to go wrong with it. It's going to get holds. And that leaves the next one, guys. And I'm going to keep the Jabba team intact. And this is where I was getting into the video earlier, where I was like, the level 9s are more catered for the 5v5. I can't seem to justify putting Mob Enforcer in place of Chrysanthemum in this lineup for 3v3. They already have a very strong Hug Cartel level 6. There's a pretty good level 3 for the Tank Revive and the Terminator on a special. So I think you're going to keep your Jabba team intact personally for 3v3. There's no way or justification where I could think of putting Mob Enforcer instead of Chrysanthemum. So Jabba, absolutely a staple for defense this season. We got to see if he can get taken out by Night Sister still. They're going to be ramping up a lot of offense with those thermals, guys. I don't know if Night Sister is going to work, but we'll find out. But Jabba is always a defensive staple in my opinion. And guys, this one excites me. I bit the bullet, and I have no regrets, because me personally, if you guys follow me, my favorite faction in Star Wars is Old Republic. My favorite game of all time is KOTOR 1, KOTOR 2. Absolutely love the lore, and I do love the characters a lot, so I did apply the Omicron on Zalbar, and I can't wait to do some testing for you guys to figure out what it works with and how good it is defensively. But I think for the initial beginning of GAC, I'm recommending putting the team on defense because, number one, it's going to be bad on banners for offense because mission's going to die, but you might be able to take out a very strong team, so there might be the plus and minus to it. But I'm probably going to be using it on offense some days for my ult account to test it, but I am recommending, guys, defense, defense, defense. If you put a resistance penetration cron from the previous set with Darth Revan and he's got the buffs on a basic, do you know how hard Darth Revan's going to be hitting? He deals special damage, resistance pen is going to melt your opponent, and if you have the dark side buffs on a basic, every time he's assisting with a basic, his damage is going to be insanity, guys. Get ready for this. I already have plans for it. I have the Datacron that I want. Keep an eye on this team. It's going to surprise a lot of people. I think it's better in 3v3 than 5v5. So, definitely making it on the list. Which leaves to the next team, guys. And I can't justify taking this off of defense yet because it's so annoying. Yes, we've come up with more counters along the since the Galactic Republic level 9 for Padawan Obi-Wan. But it pretty much, if you see this, everyone's thinking Bane, 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 Bane. And there's other teams that Bane wants to take out. So if you can trick your opponent and putting Queen Amidala in the front, and then they can't get through a Ahsoka in the back because you can't use your Bane with your Sith Eternal, it could throw off your opponent. But I do think that Night Sisters are going to work great this season against it still. But it's still a very strong team. It could completely shut down your opponent and stop them from getting a full clear. It's happened to me. I've gotten stuck in Queen Amidala before. I don't want it to happen again. But I do hope that my opponents struggle against Queen this season. So I'm absolutely keeping her on defense personally. Which leads to the next team, guys. And just from the previous set, same thing. We have a Magma Trooper level 3. And I think this will be strong. I couldn't get the cheese to work in 3v3. So I do think putting it on defense is pretty strong. There's an unresistible fear. Aiden's going to be hitting pretty hard with the level 6 and the level 3 buffs on a basic. Range Trooper is there for the assist. This isn't going to get wampa'd, I can tell you that. This will be pretty strong. If you're sometimes Rogue One can fail against this. I've seen multiple videos where Rogue One failed against this. So you're going to have to think of a stronger counter. Keep this in mind, guys. It's going to be really strong. And that leaves to the next team, guys, and it's going to be CLS, and I'm going to be recommending a different set for this. I don't think you're going to want to use the CLS level 9. I think you're going to want to use the Droid level 6, and yes, you don't get the Light Side level 3. Probably balances out the team. I think the undispellable damage immunity is pretty strong, and they get really good buffs. Like, your 3PO could be hitting pretty hard. So, keep this in mind, guys. If you have a Droid level 6, think about it. 3PO is considered a droid. You guys might not know that. I was going through the teams trying to figure out good, like, different comps, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, 3PO is a droid. So, if you guys have a droid level 6, this could catch off your opponent for a little bit, so keep that in mind. Then this team, guys, and I think Saw is becoming an absolute essential Omicron for GAC. He's very obnoxious. Very obnoxious. We don't have the Inquisitor level 9 this set. We have to see if Inquisitors can still take out Saw. But we do have a Kyle Katarn Mercenary level 9 and level 6, so he can be hitting pretty hard. And we also have the Rebels still. So you guys have options. If you have a Mercenary level 6, your Kyle Katarn could be hitting really hard with the defense pen. So it's all about what you guys farmed and what you have. But Saw is always going to be a defensive team in my opinion. I don't like putting Captain Rex in here because I like making two teams with my clones. But if you don't have the clone team up and running, or if you don't have the Omicron and Rex, maybe try taking out Kyle Katarn with Rex. That could be pretty annoying as well. But for me personally, I will be keeping Kyle Katarn with my Saw team. Very strong. And then, guys, how can I not include Tuskens? Tuskens are an absolutely strong team in 3v3, and they still have their Datacron set from the previous, I think, level set 17. Tusken Chieftain is the one you want to go for. Really obnoxious. If you don't have the right counters for this team, always can cause issues. You got to use either Treya or Gas or your Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. It's very obnoxious. So, Tuskens, don't really have to explain much about it. They're a very obnoxious team with the Omicron. Now, this, guys, I know that you guys are thinking Zori is kind of losing her value a little bit, but I'm going to click on this for a second. She is a smuggler. That's very important. She can get that level 6. That could shut down counters, guys. That can absolutely shut down counters. And 25% turn meter on this team, they're already fast enough. I have my Resistance Hero Finn extremely fast. 358 speed. That's a pretty fast set for me. So, you get this with the Zora Unique, and then the 25% turn meter. You're not going to be able to Imperial Trooper it. They might get out ahead against an Afra team, I'm not sure. But not being able to hit Zori is pretty insane. So, guys, keep in mind for Zori this season, do not underestimate her, especially if they have the Smuggler level 6 and the turn meter level 3. Going to be pretty powerful. Definitely keep it in mind. Then, guys, Trench with Watt and Dooku, and I do think this team is pretty annoying still. It's like I said from the previous video, my 3v3 video, Trench is a type of team where you can't underestimate, but you also don't want to overkill it. So if you like put that in the front, your opponent might get tricked out or psyched, and they want to like use a very strong team because you see Watt, and it could definitely cause some issues. So Trench is not a terrible terrible character, not one of the best conquest characters we've gotten in recent times, but not a bad team, guys. I do think it's going to be pretty strong. Now, guys, this one is what I'm thinking for the droids, and it's going to be Shorty, Hoi Yang, and HK47 with his level 9. I'm trying to make this work. I'm trying to see if we can get the droid team to do something. I think the HK level 9 is pretty strong, but I do think the droid level 6 is even stronger. Hoi Yang hits pretty hard, and he has a lot of synergy with droids in his unique. So this could definitely throw off your opponent. Depending on how you have your team modded who gets VIP, could definitely cause some issues. And HK47 is going to be getting a lot of speed, inflicting fear with his level 9. So I'm going to test it out. I'm going to try it on defense for the first week just to see how it goes. I do have a droid level 6. I don't have the HK47 level 9 yet, unfortunately. But when I do, I definitely want to see how it performs. Now we're going to get into some of the good stuff, guys. And this isn't labeled correctly, so ignore that. But this is going to be a dash team with Han and Chewbacca. And in my opinion, this is going to be one of your strongest defensive smuggler teams for the season. If you guys have a 25% turn meter level 3, the Smuggler 6, and the Dash Rendar level 9, he has the potential to take so many turns. Han Solo stuns off the bat. That's a bonus turn. Chewbacca has a stun on his second special. Bonus turn. Han Solo on his first special. Bonus turn. Dash on his first special. Stun. Another bonus turn. This will be strong. Absolutely strong. And if you can't hit them with 100% evasion, it makes it even more annoying. So, guys, me personally, I'd rather put my dash with Han and Chewbacca this season instead of having Vandor, Chewbacca, and someone else. I don't think it's going to be as strong with any of those characters. So, personally, guys, that's the team for Hondo this season, and that's what I'm recommending. Now, this one's going to be a little weird. I think the Smuggler level 6 is going to be stronger than you think. This might be able to get bad batched, possibly, but I do think that with the Cleansing with L3, the Prepared Mechanic with Vandor, and Kira having her level 9, this is not a terrible split. Is it going to be one of the best teams that you could place on defense? No, but it could be a good team to throw off your opponent if you have the Kira level 9 and you want to split all the level 9s up into level 6s. I just think Smugglers are the way to go this season. So that's why I'm putting Kira with Vandor and L3 to see if that can do anything for me. So I will give it a shot. Then, guys, these last two, the Omega one is going to be more catered for the whales because obviously no one has this team yet. I tried to find a way to get the Mercenary level 9 for Hunter to work in 3v3, and I just can't justify splitting up Balin for Shin and Marak. I just don't want to do that, guys. So I'm going to be recommending just putting a Hunter, Batcher lineup with Omega. If you guys do have this team farmed with the Omega Omicron, we don't have much information about it. I think Hunter is a great character, and it'll be one of the stronger teams this season if you have them geared. Then the last up, guys, I wanted to throw this in there. This team is still very strong. You can't underestimate it. We have a 25% turn meter cron, so they're going to go even faster. Great stats for them with Armor Pen. They're going to hit pretty hard. So I do like the clones in 3v3. Still in Kyber 1, I still think it's a strong team. So that is going to conclude the defensive teams, guys. I know that took a while, but I just wanted to explain my mentality with it. Let's get into the offense now. Starting with the offensive teams, I want to start with the first Galactic Legend. That's going to be Jedi Master Kenobi. And personally, I think Kenobi has way more value on offense than defense. He has too many counters on defense for me to put him there. He's going to get countered by Reva. He's going to get countered by Bo-Katan Mandalore. And I just don't want him to get countered by a non-GL. So I do think that Kenobi has way more value on offense than any other of the other GLs. And I think that he can definitely do a lot. We have to see if he can still take out Jabba with the Hutt Cartel. That's definitely a big if. But regardless, Kenobi's going to stay on offense for me this season. And that leaves to the next team, guys. And these two are going to be... I'm going to kind of do a combine with these three. Sith Eternal is great for soloing teams. If you have to go through Ahsoka Tano, bring Bane in there as the second. If you don't want to bring in Bane, use Bane with another +1 for Sith. I like to use Assassin. If I'm going against Queen Amidala, I'll use Sith Trooper. Or Sith Empire Trooper. But, guys, doesn't need to be explained. Sith Eternal is not the best on defense. Bane literally cannot be used on defense. Always going to be an offensive tool for this game. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Then we move on to Aphra. Aphra, I still think even with the droid level 6 and then the BT1 level 9 is still going to be better on offense. Too many counters are open to her. You can still gun her down. She's not going to get the damage immunity. She's honestly the biggest annoyance on that team. I do think Aphra potentially could take out Jabba still. But we're going to have to play around and see it. I hope this set kind of helps her out a bit. So definitely offense. Then I'm going to move up to these next two guys. And personally, I don't like combining these teams because I think they're very strong separately. But sometimes you have to do it. It's not the best thing. It's not the most ideal. But if you guys can afford it, Star Killer with Emperor Palpatine and Mara Jade as a separate team. Then if you want to do another team, you can do Seer with Baby Cal and Malicos. But if you need to use Star Killer to take out Rey with Ezra, I completely understand. It makes a super team with unaligned Force users. It makes you able to take out Rey with Ezra. So that's why I'm putting on this list, because it's very strong. Then next up, guys, is Bo. And I'm not putting Bam with her this season because I do have other plans for Bam personally that I want to kind of try out. But yeah, good at taking out Kenobi, good at taking out Lord Vader, good at taking out Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. Bo is a very strong team. If you have the Omicrons, very helpful as well. I do think that Paz goes back into the slot because of another different team. So that's going to be that team. Then we have Night Sisters, guys, and Night Sisters are very, very good at taking out Jabba. I don't know if it's going to be as strong this season with the Hutt Cartel level 6. But we'll have to find out and see. I do think that Night Sisters are definitely an offensive team. They have banner recovery. They're very cheesable with other, taking out other teams. So Night Sisters will always be an offensive team for me. Then over here, guys, we have Radis. And I think Radis is good at taking out Empire characters, good at taking out Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. I do recommend using K2SO as the tank. I've made that mistake way too many times in the past where Iden will absolutely gun down my Radis, or their Dark Trooper Moff Gideon just blows up my Radis, and I just don't want that to happen. So Radis is absolutely an offensive team. Not that good on defense, can be bounty hunted. So that's going to be the offensive list, guys. We're not going to get into the flex category. To start out the flex category, I'm including Supreme Leader Kylo Ren with Dark Side Vision Rey and Kylo Ren Unmasked. And I don't know how it operates. I don't know how her second special works in 3v3, but I do know that the less amount of characters on the field, the more damage it does. So Bane might have some trouble with the lock shock and that increased damage. We don't know. We do not know how this works. I don't know if Kenobi's going to have a hard time either. If she autofocuses Cat, you're in for a really long night because there's less characters for him to target. This could be a very strong defensive team, but it also has so much viability on offense. You could probably even do a 2-man if you want with just Kylo and Darkseid Ray. Probably really good with banners. I think you're going to be able to take out Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum with this team, but regardless where you put Kylo this season, I do think he has defensive viability. Absolutely. We'll have to see if Bane can get through it still. We really have to see how it goes, but that is going to be where I'm recommending Kylo. Then Leia. Leia is probably going to be your go-to Ahsoka Tano counter this season. If you don't have Ahsoka or you don't have to face an Ahsoka, you could probably put your Leia on defense, but that's why I'm putting her in flex. She's got good, strong defensive viability, but is also really, really valuable on offense, so she has to make the list for flex. Next up is JML, and this should actually be on offense. He's on the wrong list, but this is the team I'm going to recommend with him. It's going to be Jedi Knight Luke and Jedi Knight Revan. There is protection as a stat in the new Datacron set, so he will benefit tremendously from this. His special damage on his assist is based off his max protection. Jedi Knight Luke has a good AoE ability for a stun. Jedi Knight Revan has a cleanse and a marked. So this is definitely my go-to JML team. Then we have Balin, and I'm putting Balin in flex because he's really good on offense. I'm not going to lie. If you see a Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum on defense, he can counter her very hard. That's why I think that sometimes putting Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum on a team can actually hurt you in the end because of how much Balin counters her. So I didn't include ATF on any of the recommended teams. I might be using her on offense or kind of like throwing a couple of gimmies in there, like kind of sneak attacks, but I think Balin will be very strong on defense as a mercenary level 6 this set, but also can take out a ton on offense, so that's why I'm putting him in the flex category. And guys, we have Reva, and I do think Reva still remains in the flex. Yes, she can do very well on offense, but I've been thrown off by her on defense before, even without the Grand Inquisitor level 9. My Traya team still continues to fail me against Reva, so putting her in the flex, no matter where you use this character, she's going to have use. It's going to require a strong team to take her out, and she can also take out a ton on offense, so really depends. Then we have Jar Jar, guys, and if you guys have a triple Omicron Jar Jar, it can be very annoying. I do think that this team is way better in 5v5, but this team just absolutely always throws me off. You just never know how the battle is going to go. Trey is going to be an absolute hard counter for this team, but it could potentially take out Balin on offense. I know there's some RNG in the battle. I'm personally not going to try it, but I have seen it work in the past on a couple other videos. But I do think that Jar Jar is going to be used in offense or defense this season. It's still a legendary team. Then we have Gas, and Gas is a flex because he can take out certain teams with this lineup. Like, he could take out Tuskens, which is actually pretty good to use there because you're not bringing in 5s or Rex. The problem is the banners. The banners are pretty rough. This could definitely throw off your opponent on defense. This might force them to use a Sith Eternal where you don't want them, where they shouldn't be using Sith Eternal here. Could be considered massive overkill. So it could definitely throw off your opponent on defense, but it could also take out those tricky teams on offense as well. Then here, guys, we have Grievous with Stap and B1. And again, there's a Stap level 9, and there's also a Droid level 6. And that could be huge for this team. They're getting locked buffs that are massive damage and the undispellable damage immunity. So this could, I think Grievous is going to be back in the meta. Whether it's 5v5 or 3v3. If you have the Stap Omicron, you're in even better shape because that thing is broken. So keep that in mind. I do think Grievous is going to make a comeback. There is a droid level 6. Then we have Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon is a very strong team in all aspects of the game, or all aspects of Grand Arena, whether you're in a Rhodium all the way up to Kyber. This can take out a lot on offense. It can take out a Gas. It can take out the Clone Rex team, but it's also really strong on defense as well. Bad Batch will have a hard time if they're not fast enough. Anakin can one-shot your team, so I have to include Qui-Gon on this list. It's still a strong team. Then we have Traya, and I think Traya will actually throw off your opponents more now, because if you saw this team on defense, your go-to is like, oh, I'm just going to use Kylo or Sith Eternal. Those are too expensive for this team now. You have to save Kylo for Ahsoka. You have to save Sith Eternal for Ahsoka. So you have to really think about what you want to use here that's not considered overkill. But it could also take out a lot on offense. So that's why I'm putting Trey in the flex. One of the best Grand Arena teams there are. Then Malgus, guys. And Malgus is back in the flex instead of just the offense because of the Tank Revive level 3. Very, very helpful for him. I do think Jedi Knight Cal Kestis with his level 9 will definitely still, get through it pretty easily. But if they don't have that available, Tank Revive is strong. Bastila is in there with the Fear. I'm not including Darth Revan here because I would put it with the Mission team and Zalbar. But if you guys don't have the Omicron on Zalbar, put in Darth Revan here. Very strong. Malgus is still a staple in Grand Arena. Then here we have my Jedi Knight Cal Kestis split, which is with Bastila lead, Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and Jolie. And I would highly recommend using the Mercenary level 6, the Wordy one, and then Jedi Knight Cal Kestis level 9. Really strong, can take out Malgus, and I think it could take out some other teams. I think Jedi Knight Cal Kestis is making a huge comeback with picking out other teams. Like, we've seen this Datacron level 9 in the previous sets, like a while ago, and he's a phenomenal character. So this is going to be the team that I think is going to be really strong. And then, guys, we have Enoch, and this can pretty much go both offense or defense. It can be taken out by CLS, but it could definitely throw off your opponent. We do have a Darkside Terminator level 3, which could definitely increase their, getting their protection up going and their blight. So, really good team. We'll see it on defense this season, or offense. Then here, guys, I last minute changed Lord Vader to flex. And I normally have him on offense only, but this team will be still strong on defense. It can't be bounty hunted. If you have the Terminator in the beginning, even better for him. Thrawn's going to go really fast. Maul's going to go fast. So this could definitely cause some issues for your opponent, especially if they have a high armor pen or critical damage on that Kron. Really, really difficult to get through. So it will also have its use on offense. That's why it's here. Then here we have Great Mothers. And I took her off of the defensive category and put her to flex because we can now take out Queen Amidala. And that, to me, is 100% worth it. I think having another option for Queen is really strong. And Great Mothers do a really good job at taking her out for full banners as well. So she's in the flex. If you have her on defense, might have to, some players are going to get scared by her and throw in Kenobi, which is a win for you. But if you guys, are facing a tough opponent that will not overkill it, will use like Malgus lead, take her off defense and use her for a Queen team. Still very strong. So keep that in mind. Then here, guys, I have Dark Trooper Moff Gideon for flex. There's an Imperial Trooper level 6. There's the buffs on a basic. There's the, bunch of different stuff for this set with them. They will have their use on offense and defense. I don't think you can take out Jabba. I don't think that's going to happen in Grand Arena, but I do think that they are still a strong team, Conquest character, really good team. And guys, this is going to be the last. I say this for last because I've been getting a lot of questions about what am I going to do with this team specifically. And guys, this is all my preliminary thoughts. This is just early predictions on what I want to try. This is going to be the team. I'm recommending Bam with Hondo and Sanastaros, and I think this will be really strong. You're going to make your team extremely tanky. Hondo, if you have the Omicron, is always a pain. Those whistling birds can stack up and hit really, really hard. Sanastaros has an AoE ability. Hondo hits really hard on a basic. This is what I'm going to recommend for the Sanastaros initially for Grand Arena. I don't want to combine her with any GLs yet. I don't think she's going to make Rey invincible. I don't think she's going to make Leia any more difficult. So I do think for the beginning half, try this out, see how it goes. I will be doing some live streams on my alt account, testing all this. I'll be doing some testing on my main account. But guys, this is going to be my Sanastaros team that I'm recommending, and I would recommend giving it a shot as well for your first round and see how it goes. You never know. It's going to have way more value on in 5v5. Personally, that's my opinion. Guys, that is going to wrap up this video. It was pretty long, but I do think it's pretty useful. Grand Arena is starting in a couple hours, and I do apologize that this was late. I'm feeling a little under the weather, and I got home really late the other night, so I still wanted to get this out for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button, and if you're not already, subscribe to the channel to become a Knight of X, and I'll see you guys in the next video. May the Force be with you all.